All right, so picking up where we left off. We had added a parameter to our options here, our options being called chart customization, and that parameter was tooltip is HTML true. So let's go back and look at our tooltip and see if anything's changed. Hey, something's changed. Our text looks different, right? So basically what we've done is we've taken the control of the HTML from its default setting. So the display, we've taken the display for that text from its default setting to whatever we want to call it. So the HTML is true. What that's actually doing is saying that we can now apply styles to it, basically. So if we were to put a style tag on, let's see, if we go back up here and we have our tooltip. So let's put this guy in a div, for instance, or let's put him in an H1 just to be simple here. And close that guy up. Suddenly, we have great big old text inside of our tooltip. Now, just for demonstration purposes, let's see what would happen with that same setting now if we took off tooltip is true and reloaded our document. We'd have, look at that, we'd have these, H1 tags in the middle of our tooltip, which is no good. Nobody likes that. That's not cool, man. So put that guy back in, and we'll take this guy out. So we're going to do something even cooler with this now. So let's check back in with our documentation here and see what our next big thing is in customizing that HTML content. We've got scroll down. This is how I read documentation, by the way. I skip all the explanation and I just go straight to the code, straight to the example. Let's look at this. Wow, look at that. We're loading an image on top of our tooltip here, right? How cool is that? So where did that come from? First of all, it's not something you could do without being able to load HTML, right? You have to load HTML into that space in order to be able to access things outside of our document, in order to be able to customize things in a way that is not built into the Google visualization library. So let's look at the code. It's interesting. This is maybe a little bit weird here. We've got our table data, add rows, and this looks really different than what we had up here, right, where it's just year, number, some text. Down here we have year, and then we have a function we're calling called create custom HTML content, and we are feeding it some parameters. And that first parameter is just a great big old link. So let's look at that link real quick and see what we get. We get flag. Wow, look at that. Okay, so that is the flag that is loading into our space here. So we could do that. We could throw a flag into our tooltip. Why not? If we scroll down here, we see that, of course, we define this function somewhere. So let's see what that looks like. We have function create custom HTML content. We're feeding it 4 parameters: flag URL, total gold, total silver, total bronze. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And in our function here, we're calling the function, then we have 1 being the URL, and then 3 numbers. And remember how these anonymous functions work, where we are we're passing these arguments with no name here, so we're not naming these in this space. The names are defined when we catch it on the other side of function here. We're naming it flag URL, total gold, total silver, total bronze, and then using them in the HTML. So this is a lot of stuff right here. We don't need that much stuff for our demonstration purposes. We're just going to load a couple of simple things into our tooltip here. So let's check this guy out again and see what we've got. We've got tooltip equals guns and alcohol laws. Let's take that out. Let's do something else. Let's load in the flag. Why not? So remember, that first piece is going to be create custom HTML content, And inside of that now, we're going to pass an argument. And in this case, let's see. Let's just pass that. Flag URL and see what we get. Let's see. So there's the SVG image, and we're just going to cut and paste that URL into this space. And if we look back at our document, nothing is going to happen because we didn't actually define our function. We called a function, the function doesn't exist. So let's check that out here. We've got a function, there we go, create custom HTML content. And I'm screwing this up here, but I can fix it. So there it is. So we're passing now this URL, and again, still we're passing the URL, but we're not actually doing anything with it because we don't have a function set up yet. So let's go into the documentation there, and we're going to cut and paste the first part of this, which is where we define our function. So we're not going to use all of this because we're only passing one thing, and this function is set up to pass 4. Let's put this guy down here. Function create custom HTML content, and we're going to just, well, all we need is a flag URL, right? And we're going to set up our function here, and inside of that now we want to just actually pass that and actually write some HTML. So in this case, let's just take that first piece, which is this image, and drop it in and see what we get. Let's see, so we have quote things always bug me here. There we go. URL, we're missing just one single quote at the end. And that should work. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Boom. Okay, so we have a function now, so the page is going to load, and oh no, what is going on? What is going on is that we have no return set up. So we didn't quite get that right. If we look back at our example over here, you notice that we have a return value. So we're calling this function, and we need it to actually send something back to us. In this case, it's the HTML that we are writing. So let's go back over here, and we've got our function create custom HTML return this object with this value, flag URL, in the place of this string. And if we load our tooltip again, what are we going to get? Boom! Look at that flag. All right, kind of fun, right? So there you go. This is kind of getting to the end of this now. In this space here, we have we could put anything in this. We could continue to add HTML to this space. So let's say that we wanted to show let's say that we wanted to show the population value below this. So we're going to create custom HTML content. We're going to pass that URL, but we're also going to pass the population number, which we've defined here. And send that guy along, and when we set up our object here, we're going to add an item to it, which is another div, or another piece of HTML rather, which will be a div that we will call, let's call this guy class equals population. And put the value on the inside of this guy, which will be population, which we've not actually put in here yet. There we go. So check this out. We are from our tooltip, we're calling the function called create custom HTML content. We are passing two arguments, the first one being the URL, the second one being the population value. We get to our function and we are catching these two arguments, and they are flag URL. So this just gets a name as it lands here. And the second piece is also just the name that we're catching. In this case, it's population. And we're going to return from this function is a block of HTML that looks like this. So let's see what happens when we load the page now. Look at that. We get a flag and we get a number. And from here, of course, the possibilities are just endless. We're going to do one little thing just to tidy this up. We could define our styles in the script, but in this case I gave it a class, so we might as well just come over here to our style sheet and let's just add a style for that guy. Right, so font family, let's say Arial, and font size, let's say 1.3. Let's say 13 pixels. We'll use a pixel value here, and it's going to be. Let's make it blue. Why not? Why not blue? And text align. We want it to just kind of sit nice and center under our flag, so we'll say text align center, and boom! Look at that. We've got center aligned 13 pixel Arial font right there. So that is our introduction into customizing tooltips in the Google Visualization Library. So we'll go into this more on Thursday, but for now this kind of gives you a good overview of what we'll be talking about. And there you go, my first time using whatever crazy program this is, Screencast-O-Matic. All right, take care guys, bye.